Hello, good afternoon. My name is Joette Klein, and I'm the Assistant Director of the Library Services, as well as the Coordinator of the Jefferson County History Center. Welcome to today's presentation on the Jefferson County History Center located in the Jefferson College Library. I will briefly talk about the History Center, the history of the center, what types of information is available for your historical and genealogical research, and the process to get that information. Before I get started, just a few housekeeping reminders. This presentation is being recorded and will be put on our website after the presentation for the viewing again. Please keep your microphones muted. I will take questions at the end, although I will be turning my camera off and will not be able to see the chat during my presentation. You are welcome to enter questions in the chat, and I will get to those after the presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And we'll start the presentation. Okay. A little bit about myself. So a little bit about the history of the History Center. It was established in 1981. The History Center was a collaboration between college professors and leaders of Jefferson County, as well as members of the Jefferson County Heritage and Landmark Corporation. The purpose was to act as a repository of important historical documents and records of Jefferson County and make those available to the public. The center was housed in a couple of locations on the Hillsborough campus over the years, and eventually it found a permanent home on the second floor of the library. It remained there until 2016. It was at that time that the library was undergoing a major renovation. So knowing that we were going to move completely out of the building by December of 2016, we had the History Center collection boxed up and moved elsewhere on campus in July of 2016. File cabinets were moved to one building, and the books and file boxes were moved to another building. We wanted to keep as much of the materials accessible as possible so we could continue assisting patrons with genealogical and historical research. When we were designing the new library, we wanted to make sure that the history collection was a focal point of the space and that we were bringing old in with the new. A dedicated climate-controlled space was built on the first floor for the collection. As you can see in this photo, was behind big glass windows, as a display area so that we can create displays, but yet have the original documents included that stay in a controlled environment. And so we can have all those original documents sitting out there that people can get a view of, but not have them exposed to the elements. And the archive room itself is closed off to the public, but the viewing area allows you to be able to see the collection and still get an idea of what's there. In addition to the archive room, we also have a reading room, and sometimes it's referred to as the research room. This space contains a browsing collection. We have a small collection of local historical newspapers and some probate files and some of the census records on microfilm. You also find a computer to research online and print off any documents and information. There's a copy machine with a scanner, and a microfilm microfiche reader scanner as well. You can also we also have a document camera that you're welcome to come use, and you can take an image of a document, an old document that you have, and make it a digital piece, or you can also take images of any photos you have and digitize those as well. So, and that's also available to the public. The browsing collection in the reading room, you'll find histories written of several individual cities and towns in the county, as well as histories of the county as a whole. We have some indexes of marriages and deaths that occurred in the 19th century, indexes to some naturalization records from the early 20th century, and then the county newspapers on microfilm. Maps and atlases are available, a few telephone directories from various areas of the county, and you can view this collection anytime during regular library hours. So what exactly is contained in the archive area itself? So the archive area is original county records that make up a large portion of the History Center collection. Those big old large county books, handwritten from the 19th century. And I'm going to highlight a few of the records that we do have. So probate files are the number one requested record in the collection. We have almost 7,000 probate files dating from 1821, which is the earliest, to the mid-1950s. These original files are the administration of estates that contain settlements, claims allowed or rejected, and applications for administration of the estate. These are a great resource to use to locate names of other relatives, find a record of land owned, and to see what kind of personal materials your ancestors owned. Those are very unique and interesting to look at those very early list of property. The record of wills is from the 19th and mid-20th century. Some of the volumes are indexed. However, wills are arranged chronologically, so even without an index, as long as you have a date range, it's possible to find a will. If you have an approximate date a will may have been filed, you can scroll through the books for those years and see if the name can be located. Land and personal tax books, property tax records are great resources to determine when and where ancestors lived in the county. Land tax records can pinpoint the range and section of land owned, and personal property taxes can give you insight of what types of livestock your ancestors may have owned. You can see in that photo on the right, it says a school tax record book also lists sections of land, how many acres, and the value of the land. It's another source to determine land ownership. We have hunter license records from 1909 to 1914. Back then, you went down to the county to buy a hunter's license, and it's one of the more unique items in the collection. And these records give the name of city residency, give name, city of residency, age, complexion color, and eye color. And although the small range of coverage for these records, it is a fun item to look at if you had an ancestor who may have lived in the county during the early 1900s and was a hunter. And it might just solve the mystery of when and with who a certain eye color entered your family genes. Records of nationalization certificates and declaration and allegiance certificates are also included in the archive collection. These contain a wealth of information about an individual. The name and ages of the applicant, the date of petition, name, ages of wife and minor children. The allegiance records also include a place of birth and the date of entry into the United States. Now, this collection of naturalization records is small and it's very sporadic in the year's coverage. They leave the records from the early 1900s to the 1930s. But it could include one of your ancestors, so it's worth taking a look at. And there are a couple of years worth of records that actually have some photos attached next to the certificate. So unique collection there. One of the most complete collections that we have, and a very unique collection, are 19th century circuit court cases. And it's a very interesting story how we came about these. These cases came from the county, and they were in 9 boxes that were marked burn. And one day in 2013, that was 10 years ago now, I got a phone call from the county and asking if we were interested in these old records before they were going to get rid of them. And I asked what types of records they were, and they said they didn't know. They were just some old records. And I said, sure, we'll take a look at them. So we arranged to get them brought over to the library. And lo and behold, they were original 19th century circuit court cases. In 2015, the local records program through the Secretary of State's office contacted us after hearing that we had these documents, and they offered to digitize these records. So they spent 3 years. So these records were trifolded, glued, rubber bands on them. And so volunteers spent 3 years working alongside an archivist from the state to flatten, organize, and otherwise prepare the files to be sent to Jefferson City for photographing. These are available in PDF for public use. These are the permanent records or proceedings of the Jefferson County Circuit Court. Jefferson County Circuit Court, both civil and criminal cases, cases over land and property disputes, murders, robbery, selling liquor on a Sunday, and divorces are all contained in these collections. Very fun to look at, just to learn about. And to my knowledge, this is one of the biggest collections of Jefferson County records that is available online. For free. Let's get away from that. The court files are available in PDF on our website. And I believe you can also access them through Missouri Digital Heritage. To access these files, you can use the index to locate the file and the box number. And to search them, you'll go to the LibGuide for the History Center. So on our Jefferson College library page, you'll click on History Center, and then it'll take you a page that looks like this. And you'll click on the top tab there that says, circled in red, that says Local Resources. And then they'll bring you to a page that looks like this in the first box, and you'll see the link that says Jefferson County Circuit Court Cases Index. And this will open the index to the records. And it's an Excel workbook. And the workbook contains 2 sheets. One is titled Name File ID, and the other is Case File ID. So you can look them up in 2 different ways. The bottom of the workbook is where you'll find the different tabs for the separate sheets. And the name file is an alphabetical list of names, and you'll find the name that you're researching. And then you'll note the case file ID number over on that right-hand column on that page. And you'll want to note that, and then you'll go and then you'll go over to the case file ID, and you'll look in that first column where it says case file ID, and you'll find the number that corresponds to the name that you're looking at. And that corresponds to the case itself. So it has the title of the case, the cause of action, and then a case summary. And then all the way over in columns H and I, there's a column box and a column for folder. And you'll want to note the column, the folder, and box number of the case that you're looking for. And once you find that, you're going to go back to that History Center page, and you're going to click on the link that says Jefferson County Circuit Court Records, and it's going to bring you to this web page here. And you can see that it's organized by box number and then folder number. And then you'll click to open the PDF, and you are now looking at the case file. So this is a fun and interesting collection to browse. You may find information about an ancestor, learn about life in Jefferson County in the 19th century, and there are close to 3,000 court cases, but there's also some notable gaps as well. Many of the cases from the 1840s and the 1880s and 90s are missing. Now, I've heard rumors over the past 10 years of individuals having some of the cases in their possession. So if you or someone you know has any, it would be wonderful to add them to the collection. Feel free to contact me, put them in our book drop them by the library circulation desk, whatever. These are great resources for county history, and we'd love to have these added to the collection. Now, the process to find these online probably seems like a lot of steps and a little bit confusing, but once you learn how to navigate the spreadsheets, it's pretty simple. So feel free to stop by the library for assistance, or you may call me and I can walk you through the steps over the phone, or just even send you a case file through email. So just let me know. And in addition to the probate file, circuit court files, and other county records, there are several collections of donated materials. We have file folders containing family and town histories, which comprise of newspaper clippings, personal written histories, and other materials. There's also a collection of aerial maps of the county from 1954, 63, and 66. These provide a nice way to see the changes in the county over the course of a decade. A couple of years ago, we had a year-long exhibit called Ways of Seeing. It was created in celebration of the Missouri Bicentennial, and we had discovered a colored hand-drawn survey map in one of the circuit court cases. And this was a survey 2020, which comprised of land in northern Jefferson County. And in our research, we discovered that William Clark had once owned a section of land in the survey. So we were able to look at various maps that we had in our collection and find that survey area. And we were able to look at the aerial maps and locate the land on them and display that area, how that area looked in the 50s and 60s. We also have 1876 and 1898 historical atlases. We have coroner inquiries, church histories, cemetery histories, which you confirm if an ancestor is buried in a particular cemetery. We have a collection of school records from various schools and districts in Jefferson County. These records cover the 1930s and 1960s, with some schools and districts having more complete records than others. These records list classroom rosters as well as grades of each student and the teacher each year. This source can be used to verify or determine parents' names, as those are listed on the records, and in some cases, sibling names. You can look at matching family names in the class rosters and see if the parents' names match, and you can determine siblings as well. So in addition to the tangible collection, we recently acquired some digital resources as well. Community access to Ancestry for Libraries and Fold 3 were made available thanks to a generous gift from the Brant and Jane Hauser family, by which the Piece Together exhibit is sponsored. These databases are wonderful resources to locate immigration, birth, marriage, death, census, and military records worldwide. And you can access these databases while in the library. They are not available off campus. In addition to the collection of information we have on site in the History Center, there's also a number of state resources that you can search. I have a LibGuide page on the LibGuide with links to Missouri Digital Heritage, Missouri State Archives, and other resources. These sites vary in the content that they have, the indexing that they have, and the ways in which you can access that information, but you can contact each institution individually for assistance with your research. And I believe like through the state archives and the state library, you can also request through interlibrary loan microfilm, and it can be sent to the library, and you can use our microfilm reader to look up the information on it. You will also find a tab with National History and Genealogical Resources. Bureau of Land Management General Land Office contains federal land conveyance records for the public land states, including images to access more than 5 million federal land titles issued between 1788 and the present. Also included are images of survey plats and field notes, land status records, and control document index records. A link to Family Search, Find a Grave, and the National Archives is also included. And the LibGuide also includes information on African American and Native American genealogy resources that you can access to trace your Native American and African American, African and Native American family. So who is it that accesses or can use the records for the Jefferson County History Center? Really, it's open to everyone. We have genealogists, local history enthusiasts, professional researchers, history faculty, land boundaries researchers from title companies that come and access the collection. We have a local historian, John Lindhorst, who will be talking about Sandy Creek. Shortly after the new space opened, we had 3 cousins who came from different parts of the country and stayed in Festus, spent several days researching probate files and other information in regards to their family history. So it was a fun little summer project for them to get together and research. We have a patron currently who does a lot of collecting of art of arrowheads and other artifacts that he finds on his land in Jefferson County. And he was able to use the maps and the county histories and determine that it was a piece of land where a lot of meetings took place with Native Americans, and which explains why he keeps finding all these things in the creek bed. So you're probably wondering, how can you access this wonderful collection? So appointments are required, at least strongly preferred. I am flexible. Research hours are listed as 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday through Thursday, but I am flexible. It depends on the other aspects of my position at the college. If I have meetings or other things going on, to be able to assist with research. So you can access the request form on the LibGuide and request materials. So on the very first page, on the Getting Started page, has the research hours, and there's a link to where it says appointment required. And then there's also under the appointments box, there's an appointment request form. And you can click on that, and it'll open up a form for you to fill out. And you just put in the date that you are interested in, coming to the History Center, all your contact information, the date, the alternative date, which is helpful, and then any material type that you would like to look at. So if you want to look at probate files, there's an index on our indexes for the probate files, and you can just look it up by name. It'll have the probate file number, so it's give me the name and the file number. If you know there's alternate spellings to the name, include those. If you want to look at tax records or land records, it's helpful if you give me a time frame that your ancestor may have lived in the county, so I know which books to go and pull to see if there's any information for you to look at in the correct time frame. And you fill this out, I'll email you back, let you know I got your request, confirm the date, and then you can come in and I'll have the items all pulled ahead of time for you. Map up the 5 items at a time, and then you can do your research. And of course, as you're researching, if you come across something that another name or something you want to look at, we can always go back in and pull more items for you. So now take questions. I hope this helped you learn how to piece together your family story by researching your Jefferson County ancestors. Thank you for watching, and I'll take any questions that you might have. All right, well, thank you for attending today. Thank you for watching. We have a couple events coming up in our Piece Together, Researching, Creating, and Preserving Your Stories exhibit. And first one coming up will be April 6th, Sandy Creek Place and Family History. This is being given by John Lindhorst, who is going to talk about, give a presentation on Jefferson County's land mining history, how he pieced together its story, how you can use some of the same techniques that he did to preserve your own family story. And then on April 27th to May 6th is National Preservation Week. And this will be in the History Center reading room. And one of our actions is to preserve personal, family, and community collections in addition to library, museum, and archive collections. So you can stop by the library to enter for a chance to win some archival supplies, see some examples of preservation techniques, and review displays related to preservation. Thank you for coming, and enjoy the rest of your day.